where did your MP concentrate on? On agriculture, on health, on allowance, on welfare? What did he contribute or she contribute? You'll find that in the scorecard, vis-a-vis where the rest of Parliament concentrated on. That's the feedback we want to give the citizens. And then how about when they were amending laws? Did your MP move any amendments to cater for your interest of your area or your rights? If they see amendments reading 0, it means your MP did not even move any amendments to amend the law. So if they say, did you, on matters of national concern, citizens, a lot of things are of concern. MPs are given a chance in every sitting. When after the speaker has spoken, you're supposed to rise up. I rise up on a point of national concern, and then the speaker gives you. Then you are now given. That is, you want, the constitution gives you the power to elevate an issue in your constituency to a point where it becomes a national concern. And then the speaker now says, Minister X addressed this, or Committee Y, please look into this and report back to the House. But your MP has raised a matter of national concern. But now if your MP does not raise any issue of national concern, the issue remains in the constituency, in the region, but it has not been elevated to be a point where it can be addressed. So that's why representatives are very important. Another thing is question time, issue of national concern, moving amendments, but you can also move a motion for a resolution of the House. So again, you will see in the scorecard how many motions did your MP raise, or how many did he second. If it is 0, sorry for that region, for that constituency. Again, another opportunity they have is a petition. You can write a petition. Your people are petitioning government of Uganda over, like you can say, Pianupe Game Reserve, or over Loporokocho something, or over Matheniko Game Reserve. You can petition on anything. A petition is public complaint. When your public complains on any matter, okay, it could be on employment, could be anything. So your MP is supposed to lay a petition. Your people are petitioning Parliament. You're supposed to lay that petition on the table. Hello? And then the speaker will allocate a committee of Parliament or a ministry or an agency of government to look into that petition and report back to Parliament. Now, we found that there were only 10 petitions in the whole year in the government. So most petitions came from Western Uganda. So if you see in the scorecard of your MP, petition 0, it means there were no public complaints in Karamoja. So the Karamoja had nothing to complain about, and none of their MP raised any public complaint. So of the 10 complaints that we saw in that year, only 2 were acted on. The rest of the 8 were not acted upon. And we're also asking that of the institution of Parliament. If citizens complain and you don't address, what's the whole purpose? Will the people begin complaining? Well, aren't you killing? And yet it's there. It's a provision in the constitution, in the laws of Uganda, to give MPs opportunity to raise issues and complaints so that they can be addressed. So, ladies and gentlemen, these are some of the aspects we had to address, but using official records. And then committees. In committee performance, ordinarily we look at 3 things. 1, we record them because Parliament is not recording them verbatim. AFLI and UMI, we record them using this project and we transcribe. We produce now volumes called Parliamentary Committee Hansards, because the Commonwealth Parliaments don't produce committee Hansards, because we find that 70% of the work of Parliament takes place in the committees. So we said, even if you don't speak in the House, did you speak in the committee where homework is done? And then 25 pages, 15 pages report is sent to the plenary. Did you contribute? So did you attend committee? And then did you sign reports? What is the productivity of your committee? So we looked and said, in this particular Parliament, in this particular year, every committee produced more than 4 reports, and we scored them. But the committee with the largest number of reports was the Budget Committee. and economy. The one was 13 reports in 1 year. So other committees, just one report only. Really, how productive is your committee? So that's why we score the institution separately. So we follow the MPs because where do they perform? They perform in plenary. Secondly, they perform in committees. And thirdly, if you don't sign a report, you must own the output of your committee. And for us to give you marks, did you sign? We found there are MPs who could not sign reports. You're supposed to associate yourself. A third of the members of the committee should sign a committee report. So if you don't sign, why should we give you marks? Because if you don't agree with this majority report, you are supposed to file a minority report. So we looked at both minority report, we look at committee report, majority report. And those which are signed are the ones where we give you marks. For you who did not sign, you did not own, where do you belong? What is your report? Where the citizens of Uganda sent you to Parliament and you can't sign a report, you can't own up. So where do we score you in a committee performance? You are not even attending. So where have you been? You are not in plenary, you are not in committee, you don't even sign reports, you don't attend. So the voter who brought you needs to know. Then third area of concern is constituency. MPs, we sent researchers to every constituency in Uganda twice before we produce this report. So they document, does the MP attend the district council meeting? The district council, what were the dates of your meetings in that year? They give us the CAO, the clerk to council, the speaker, they gave us the dates. We photocopy a register of every district council in Uganda. We have them. So no MP can tell lies. Either you attended or you delegated your personal assistant. If you did not, why? Because the Local Government Act says you're an ex-official member. And I told you why it is so important for MPs to attend district council, so that they work for the people, so that they help the councillors, so that the councillors can voice the concerns, and then the MP takes. And it is from there where they pick issues to ask a specific minister. If they don't come, where do they get these issues? They must raise. So we photocopied minutes of the district council. We photocopied registers throughout Uganda for the whole 1 year. We have them in case an MP wants to take us to court.
Buena DP, thank you so much.
Let me stop here. And do they have an office? Do they have a personal assistant? Where does the complaint, where do you go if you want to reach your MP? So now we have been forced to design an app which we are going to pay ourselves. That's why we have put a website now. We are going to ask you, if there is an issue, a road has been washed and you want your MP to raise this issue in Parliament, please send here, we pay the MPs. Or press here, even if it's a voice recording, it will go. Even if you're using a Kabiriti, we have developed now that app going forward so that we record and then it goes to the iPad. So that we record out of this number of issues citizens brought to you, how many did you respond? Who do you work for if you do not respond to what citizens are raising? So that is really the nature of this scorecard. Relying on official records, unfortunately, relying on what they should do according to the Constitution. And then 3 is we don't grade their performance in the constituency. Maybe we should start to grade when they work on a road, when they work on this. We did not grade. Maybe we should start to grade there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Buena DP, for a very detailed introduction to this. So for participants, do kindly keep tuned and keep your questions. I just have 2 or 3 questions to start the discussion, so that then we open it to attendees to as well, ask their own questions. But for this process, call, I would like to get a bit in your shoes. May you share with us, what it felt like, your experience, how did you feel working on the scorecard? You know, it's something that, you know, works a lot to try and open up our parliament and make, you know, and increase the potentials for, you know, the space for holding leaders accountable. So with the enormous task of having to ensure that citizens do indeed get all their MPs accountable, how was that process? Hello. Hello, David.
Hello? Are you
Yes.
hearing me?
Yes, welcome back.
Okay, thank you. I'm saying that it has not been easy. We gave Parliament in March 2018 our parameters for assessment. We gave them our parameters, the speaker, the clerk. They told us they would invite us to a parliamentary commission and when we address. And then they decided not to invite us. We have had 4 meetings with the speaker on this matter. And then we organized a workshop for all MPs in Africana in April last year, 2019. Some of them came, others did not come. Then again, we decided to say, let's hold a workshop inside Parliament. We worked with one of the committees of Parliament. They took us the parliamentary lounge near the canteen. We held, a number of MPs came. We discussed the parameters and they were able to give very useful ways of assessing. Like for example, on attending district councils, they say they don't get invitations, they do what? And so they gave us useful, so we were able to amend some of the parameters. Now we broadened some of the parameters. But because there are those who choose not to come, who think they can wish away. Even the speaker told us, these MPs don't assess individuals. You only assess the institution of Parliament. But we said the institution did not come for our votes. It is the individuals who came who must be held accountable. So we shall assess both the institution as well as the individual. So why it delayed from coming, even the donor cut our funding for 5.5 months because they tried to influence the donor. Now, when the donor discovered that actually Parliament wants to escape accountability because the donor is funding 2 projects inside Parliament. This one is for citizens. So now, otherwise it was becoming elephantiasis where the Parliament and government have a huge leg and citizens have no information to hold that accountable. So the donor said, go ahead as it was approved. Let them handle the problem when it comes. So that's why it delayed. And now it has come close to election. And they think we are malicious. Why did we wait? My brothers and sisters, there are 3 scorecards. This is of the 3rd year, because that's when we got the resources. The 4th year, which ended in May this year, is going to come in October this year. That's the 4th year of report. Then the 5th year is going to come in January, before February. So there are 2 more scorecards to come for the 10th Parliament. Then the voter will now decide, having looked at the 3 reports. So it has not been easy. These are powerful people. They are well paid. So you have to be careful what you put in this report. In case they take you to court, I must be able to defend, okay? And it is something you can verify according to the Constitution. So we were forced to rely on limited amount of information just to give citizens a glimpse, okay, of what they do, and therefore use that limited information to hold them accountable. So now, if I'm to dig down and say the performance of your MP is like this, the school enrollment is this, the poverty levels are this and that, does it have a relationship to your poor performance? Was your region, was your county given an equal chance to raise those issues so that they can be addressed? Yes. Did your MP make use of those opportunities? No. Why? They think you in Karamoja will not be able to get to know because the scene of their crime is far away from you. But AFLI is trying to bridge the gap and bring you closer so that you have access to what they think you will never get to know. And then now when you know what you know, how do you hold them accountable? We are happy that we have decided to go head on because the law is is for us. The Constitution supports this, and the Law Access to Information Act supports this, even Parliamentary Act. So they have no basis to escape scrutiny. Imagine they arrest cows, they arrest PSS, they want everybody else to account to them, and yet they are the watchdogs. So now who watches over the watchdog? If the dog in your house is given a bone and the thieves come and steal money from the treasury, how will you know? So we must be vigilant as citizens so that we hold them to account.
Yes.
It is not easy.
Thank you so much. There's one question that keeps popping up also on the chat. So people want to understand for Karamoja, and for me, just to give you a bit of background, I since the late 90s, and I like to also deliberately say since the pool call days, there has been some sort of vacuum in terms of Karamoja leadership at the national level, in the national space. Fine, we have 2 ministers, but in terms of leadership, I think Karamoja has, lacked that. People want to know what are the major bottlenecks to the participation of Karamojong MPs, especially at the national level. Do Karamoja MPs face some peculiar difficulties in terms of, engaging? And what are these difficulties? And probably if you have an idea or two on how this can be plugged.
I think during our time, depending on what you stand for, if you decide to stand for your stomach and your family and your whatever, you can go to the center and connive with them and be good and what and so forth, so long as you are eating, everything is moving. And therefore you don't raise anything you fear to raise anything, or you can, but during my time, also we were looking at Karamoja as Karamoja. But this districtization, which is called decentralization, has split us to a point where people are just quarreling over small areas. Oh, because you are not from Napak, you should not get a job here. Because you're not from Nakapriprito, you are not from Karenga, you're not from where, people have made, instead of working as a collective, they no longer raise issues. They have a Karamoja Parliamentary Group. What do they discuss? What do they agree to push so that when you see an issue of national concern, so that the rest support? So I think they are lacking the common voice. During my time, we were few, but we could organize Karamoja forums. Of course, now there's KDF. So we would bring people together, whether in Kangole, whether you take them to Kotido, we take them to whoever, and we raise the issues. Then we bring those issues out. It was not like now. So I think there's either lack of unity, or people are just dividing themselves on petty things, or people are just concentrated only on eating and they don't take issues together. And I was saying that, but there are now more graduates. They've been to school. Most of these are in parliament. What is preventing them from functioning? Why is government even able to appoint ministers from elsewhere to be for Karamoja? And when you go, you see the one for Bunyoro is from Bunyoro, the one for Teso is from Teso, the one for Buganda is Buganda, the one Luero, the one for, but when it comes to Karamoja, even on a single matter like that, how can they not agree? So we don't know. Maybe we need those regional forums whereby all the district councillors come, all the MPs, civil society, and so forth. Then they come and we discuss, and then they take these issues there on the Karamoja agenda. I think it is missing. It is missing. And then where they come back and report, even if we don't have power, but at least it will be consultative forums. And then the district councils go and make it into district local government plans and budgets, while the MPs go now to take the national level. Then again, we meet the Chakolotem, whether it is twice a year or something like that. Maybe you people need to consider something like that. Chakolotem.com, I don't know, www.chakolotem. So when do we get these people to come, whereby our elders, that's why I was trying to get Nakriketa, I was trying to get people from the local government councils to get, the They thought I was looking for power to be enthroned as what? Nothing, nothing. Mine was just bring people together, let them share ideas, report what you have done, and so forth. But that's what I've always struggled for. And then for me, I had to concentrate on supporting the young people. I wasn't able to support all, but those, if you mentored Robert Limilim, you Philip Limilim, Joshua Maruk, Yolo Paula, Yafeso team, or Santos Loatan, you bring Father Loduk from where, you bring Chilanyangu from where, who's now in URA, you bring, I was just gifted in bringing young people. Even when I get an office, I would open an office for Karamoja, Logiro, please mentor these ones. And today they are in different places, you know. If I get a chance to get even more money now, I will come again and pick those who they say have no experience. So, you know, Longoli, how even you had to discuss with us, how even Teba had to go to Bagamoyo University, how, you know, we've been in this thing together to say, transform from being just a web-based like Karamoja Co, turn into a local NGO, like now you have done for KDF. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. But those forces we were waiting to arrive, because we're only, imagine now, in Matheniko, we're 2 graduates, the late Nangiro, who was a state attorney, and myself. Today, there are many. How many from GA? How many from Pian? How many from Pokot? How many from Bokor? How many from Labor? We're now better off. So how can we organize ourselves, Ojama, and then give a voice? Should we allow these people to misrepresent us? Is there nothing else we can do to bring back that voice?
Honorable David, is that the verdict? Is there a misrepresentation?
Because this, when you look at this scorecard, look at Ayepa Michael. How many amendments did he move for laws? 0. Bills raised 0. You know, motions 1. Questions 0 for the whole year. Petitions 0. Issues of national concern, he raised 0. Attendance in plenary, 23.3%. You know, attendance committee, 34%. Out of 54 committees, he attended only 34. You come to a share remedial. Amendment 0. Bills raised nothing. Motions raised 0. Questions raised 0. Petitions presented 0. Issues of national concern in that 1 year, attendance of plenary 27%. People say, why? But these are official records. You come to Ashia Terrace, amendments 1, bills raised 0, motions moved 1, questions raised 0, petitions raised 0, issues of national concern 2, attendance, he attends plenary 69% of attendance. How many committees he attends? 34 out of what? 54. Then you come to Achila Margaret, you know, Bildad. How many amendments did he move to the law? 0. Okay. How many bills he raised in the floor of parliament to become law? 0. How many motions did he support or second? 1. How many questions did he raise? 1. You know, I can read and read and read. But were there no issues in Karamoja? They were there.
This is the question. This is the question. One gets a chilling effect as you continue reading those zeros. Yeah. And that's the basis of the other question, because looking at Karamoja, you know, the poorest region, at least officially, in the country, and all these natural disasters and things like that. So you would imagine that Karamojong representatives are the most active on the floors of parliament, and this just doesn't seem to be the case, and given the scorecard.
Yeah, when you open the official records, that's what they tell you.
Yeah, so and I'm not a psychologist, but there seems to be the tendency that when you underperform in terms of achieving your objectives as a parliamentarian per the constitution, you take that energy elsewhere. So you buy horse, you buy suji, you buy something that you can physically buy, but that's not representation. Can we agree on that particular point? And the potential,
yes, that, representation.
The potential that our leaders are seeking diversion elsewhere in some physical, in some benefits of physical form that to sort of give us a smoke screen or to give us some sort of facade for the underperformance?
Maybe it's not their fault. Maybe there's pressure from the voters. And for example, the voters think the MP single-handedly is to develop the constituency. They want to fix roads, to fix bridges, to fix agriculture, to fix livestock, to fix what ambulances instead of government, because they are the only available face of government now who are more with the people. So now they're under pressure, and yet that budget is given central government. That budget is given to local government. The MPs don't have that budget, and yet they're under pressure. So you find, again, from the voters also, to push now the role of MP to be that one instead of this one, or that the constitution says. So now how do we achieve a balance? How do MPs now balance their time? So maybe that's what I'm saying. If you look at Anyakun Esther, for example, look at those solar, look at the water distribution system in those villages. Look at, if you look at the ambulance, how much does an ambulance cost, Ojama? That's a lot of money. If you look at Hillary, for example, the agriculture, the coffee growing, the what in among the Ikan, it's extraordinary. If you look at, there are things they are doing, but then when they don't come here, when they don't perform here, so I don't even know how they do it. So how should our MPs perform? Because when you look at the chronic poverty, we're again among the largest region. When you look at school enrollment, when you look at health, when you look at the largest health centers who are not filled, first of all, there are few, and yet their positions are not filled. So when do our MPs sit to discuss regional issues? That's why we have grouped them in regions now. You will get their scorecard. If you go to mpscan.ug.com, you can now go to Scorecard and download the scorecard for your region. Because that's why now people are debating with the facts. And MPs today, those in Arua were all gathered that Catholic radio. Those in Sebe were being roasted in Kapchora Trinity Radio. Those in Tororo have just left a debate going on in Rock Mambo. I've just, in language yesterday, was just fire. People in Kole, everybody's asking these questions because these are official records, which citizens did not have. So should MPs be involved in development work or in parliament only, or both? And that's why we want to discuss with them and say, how do you want us to score, to balance? Because the citizens expect this, and the constitution expects you to do this. So how do we achieve a balance? But we must begin somewhere in assessment. Back to you, sir. Simon, back to you, sir.
Okay, sorry, I had muted my microphone. So I know Teba is organizing a list of persons to ask you questions as the debate heats up. So kindly keep your questions to the point and quite straightforward, especially, at least, if you want to, give a background to your constituency, some issues that you think were left out by the MPs in that session, please do highlight that as much as you can, but keep your questions and comments to maximum 2 minutes so that more of us can speak. But while Teba organizes that, I would like to ask a rather methodological question, because the performance scorecard seems to be I think I would like you to explain your methodology, because it looks at attendance and number of times spoken. It's good. It's very good for us to know our MPs are attending Parliament and are speaking up. But one sort of tire which is a bit flatter in the assessment is the quality of that of their performance, and whether it adds value, to the development of laws in this country. So are you thinking of getting the scorecard to the side of focusing on quality so that we can know that, you know, an MP pursued this issue for a number of you know, of times, and then there are numbers there, but also with this sort of effect, because this then means that we work towards making sure that our MPs effectively represent. This is the data, because as you mentioned, the case of Dana Park MP, who attends Parliament nearly 69%, and so many committee sessions. So it really doesn't tell anything in terms of the effectiveness of this attendance. So your comment on this method and your vision for the scorecard in general.
Yeah, comrades, I'm sure you know that, get me the battery so that I can get a cable. So power cable. It's that bag here, this bag here. Sorry. So, comrades, you know that it's not easy, because if there was a textbook on how to do it, you would photocopy and do it. Anywhere in the world, we're just beginning, we're just innovating and being creative here. Yes, we would like to assess the quality of what they are saying. But first of all, even if they are not saying, put it there, if they are not saying, it's not this one, please, another one. Sorry, I'm being diverted here. So the issue is the quality. Yes, we tried to get last time to say, without bringing any bias from outside, can we ask MPs and give them questionnaires to assess themselves? If you give an MP to assess 20 MPs, and 20 MPs are also assessing him, and then you begin to say, what do you think the quality or performance of submissions of MP X, MP Y, and so forth? What about the oversight role? How about representation role? So that the MPs can assess each other, so that there's peer assessment, so that you remove any bias from outside, from researchers, from civil society, from anybody, so that it is MPs who are assessing each other on qualitative things, so that if there's any bias, it's within them, so that citizens can get a feedback. This house, we have elected our MP. What do the other colleagues think about him or her on these aspects of the following areas? That's the nearest we can come. We are trying to keep our own biases out and use objective data. Now, that's why we came to say, okay, if you have attended, what laws have you made? This 26, fine. Did it pass the constitutional test quality-wise? Did they violate the Constitution? That's our attempt to look at the quality. Did they contribute to the development plan? And that's why when we found that the Public Finance Act requires district local governments to realign their plans, their strategic plans, their budget to the National Development Plan, the ministries, departments, agents of government. Now we found that 3 or 16 of those bodies did not realign themselves with the National Development Plan. And yet Parliament went ahead and passed the budget for those entities. So we had to penalize the institution because you are breaking the whole law, you as a Parliament. Okay, so we try to look at the quality aspect, may not necessarily be, and then we come and say, okay, you talked, what did you talk on? Okay, that's why we show you what your MP contributed to, vis-a-vis what was the area of focus. But maybe now we need to come and say, yes, you talked about, you raised this issue of national concern. It was responded to. Was it implemented? Okay, maybe that's why we need to bring to that level. But that requires us to go to the ministry. Ministry X, you gave in Parliament a response that this matter is being handled or has been handled. Can you show us evidence that it has been handled? So that then now we can say, the MP raised this issue of national concern. It is true, the place has been degazetted now. It is no longer, or part of Madenko Game Reserve is now being given back, or this and that was done, so that you can relate to this. Or people said, we are not going to pass a budget on health until you increase or you recruit more health workers. Then you say, yes, it was done, and you can relate. I think that's what you are saying. Maybe that's what the scorecard should move to. But where we are now, you have to begin somewhere, Ojama. And when you begin from, they are waiting to take you to court. to disorganize you. So you have to be careful what you start with and then move there. That's why we think if we give citizens to raise the issues, to photograph an issue and send to the MP and tell the MP to raise on the floor, we record and we pay the MPs. The photograph will be there, the road was washed, and the MP response will be there to say, no, that road belongs to local government, or I've talked to the Minister of Work, and so we can match. And we can even audit and say, of the 1,000 things that citizens raised to you through our platform, how many did you respond to? What's your response rate? So that's the nearest we are going there. And if he keeps quiet and does not raise them, there will be evidence that citizens raised it. And it came to your iPad and you just to keep quiet. You did not raise on the floor. So we'll be able to bring evidence to citizens and say, So that's why we have put MP scan. We want to scan their work. We also want to say MPs can actually do their job better if they stand to represent us. So that's the next generation of the scorecard. But for now, we rely on this limited information. If you remember in court in Mbale, were people consulted on age limit or not? Is there evidence they were consulted? We saw people struggling over food here and there, but were they consulted? That's what the judges say. And that's why for us, we're putting that platform that will bring evidence. I was abused in the health center. I was in a school. I was what? You photograph and send to your MP. You want the MP to raise, okay, the RDC or the DPC or whatever, our rights were abused, and you photograph and you send. And if your MP sits quiet and does not raise, there will be evidence that it came through. So that's where we want to go. And then we can assess the quality of what they raised. But for now, do you even know what they raised before you even look at the quality, whether it was done to logical conclusion? No.
Yeah, so I guess that then becomes P2 in terms of effective presentation. So P1 means you're attending, P2 means you're speaking, and then yes. P3 means, so what are you speaking about, and yes. What is the effect? So yeah, so let's hope that we continue developing this and that we can monitor these aspects as well. So I've asked Daniel Owain to help us with the persons who have raised hands. Lokwar had raised his hand to ask a question. Daniel, can you give Lokwar the rights to ask that question?
Okay, Simon, good evening, and thank you, members. Thank you, Protocol. I'm so impressed with the presentation and how things are being done. I believe by this, our eyes as Karamojons will be open and we shall know where to go come 2021. I'm just here to go through the questions and answer session, and I'm going to start with Isaac Loduar, the Lokwar, then Ellis Caro will go. Then after that, I'm seeing Chero Achingling Moi. We can first start with those, then others will come in. Let me start with Isaac.
Hello.
Isaac, yes?
Yes.
Yes. Oh,
hello,
thank you so much. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Just a brief one to David. You have done this not only today, you have done this quite, if I can notice and say, more than 2 times. What is it that you have seen? Is there any improvement, and or things are getting worse? And how do you make sure that the members of parliament, for example, representing Karamoja, deliver such that by the time the report card comes, things are probably better? And also, you talked about MPs attending, speaking. These are some of the criteria you used to do the assessment. But what is it that has come out? I'm thinking of, after assessing all this, there should be an outcome. well, you could be collecting a lot of volume and which may not be helpful. How does this intend to help the beneficiaries or change the behavior of the people, help the beneficiaries or the citizens get to realize that what they raise is taken into consideration? And secondly, I want to find out about the citizen report card, for example. If given a chance, mostly to the citizens, then they would be, they would have so much opportunities to raise all issues that concern their constituencies. And I believe by looking at things that come straight from the grassroots, then yes, a focus can be there. And it gives also, to then motivates now the MPs to speak on the floor of parliament. Thank you.
Thank you, Isaac. I think I was asking if it is okay, DP, you would allow we take all the questions and you have the session to respond to them at once. I'm giving a chance to Ellis. Ellis, you're on air. Kindly give us your question.
Thank you very much, Dan. Honorable Pulkol, we have heard some of our MPs say that those we usually see who are vibrant, or the ones we see speak out issues on television that bribe their way out, that they pay so that these media houses can capture them or make them speak on TV. How true is this? Basing on your experience as an MP earlier on, have you always been paying your way out so that you're able to air out some of the issues on television? And then my second question is, how best will this report or this performance reach out to the grassroots? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ellis. I think that was clear enough for Honorable to respond to. The third person, we are going to Acheling Moy. Acheling Moy, your live on air. Kindly give us the question.
Yes, thank you very much. First and foremost, I'd love to thank the team from the KDF for bringing us to this point, actually. The question that I have will go to almost everybody here, is that Karamoja entirely as a region has suffered quite a number of problems, more so marginalization, insecurity, and poverty. You know, the chronic poverty which is being inherited by the young people from the old. And this is going for quite a long time. And we do believe that the kind of leaders that Karamoja needs today would be the leaders who would go and lobby and bring more projects so that we could then move and these problems be solved. But it seems the kind of leaders that our voters choose seem to be not the ones that could bring this kind of change, that could bring this kind of leadership, that could offer these kind of solutions and these problems be solved. Now, on aspect of performance of members of parliament, it looks like, according to the scorecard, because our MPs never talked, our MPs, you know, looks like our MPs who did not perform, it seems there were no problems that our MPs would have raised. The question now I'm bringing out is that, were there issues that our MPs did not raise? Were there some issues which affected us in our communities that our MPs did not bring on board? Did we try to engage our MPs and our MPs did not do so? And then what actions do we take there? Secondly, our MPs have a tendency of saying that not every problem must be raised in the House of Parliament. Maybe I would love Honorable David to clarify for us that what kind of matters should our MPs raise so that in case they don't know what they're supposed to raise. Because personally, I've confronted most of the members of Parliament and they said, not every issue must be raised in Parliament. We shall try to solve it here. So how can we bring our members of Parliament to understand that every issue, even if it has affected a person, it is a matter of national importance. Like, for example, we have cholera has killed 6 people in the hospital. That is by May. And then we have 18 people who have died who did not reach the hospital. And this matter is not anywhere. in the answer. It's not anywhere in Parliament. It has not been spoken. The Ministry of Health is not aware about this. So we have cattle rates and so forth. We have quite a number of, we have hunger killing people. It's not a matter of national importance anywhere. So for me, the question I'm asking is that, how can we bring our members of Parliament to understand that every small issue, you know, even if it is a thief who broke somebody's house and so forth, how can we make it a matter of national importance in the House at the floor of Parliament so that the Ministry of Internal Affairs can respond, particular ministries respond? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Achele Moy. I would encourage all the members, when you're given the opportunity to raise a question, I would encourage when you be like precise, straight to the point, such that we save time, and also to enable Honorable to respond to them directly. Ethilo was raising his hand, but unfortunately he has gone off. Now we have a Congo, Mercy, to give the question. Then we shall encourage one more question before we give the platform back to Honorable to respond. Akongo, your life, you can give the question.
Okay, I just want to say thank you so much for organizing this Zoom meeting, and I have to say I'm very lucky to have like had the chance to join in before actually I go to bed, because it's nighttime here. And Ekapolon, David Pulkol, I just want to say I really admire you. To be honest, you're one of the leaders in Karamoja that I admire so much. And I remember the last time that I actually did engage with you was when we did organize a celebration, like at the Hotel Africana. You remember that that event that we had about tapping the, and I mean like about the untapped potentials within the pastoral communities. I was part of it at Hotel Africana. It's been a long time ago and stuff like that. So that was the last time that I physically actually met with you and had a chat with you. But going back to the House, and the topic for today is the performance of our leaders in Parliament. I have to say that I think it needs to start with the change of the mindset. And when I say the mindset, it's not just for the leaders, but it's also for our people. But today I'll just concentrate more on the leaders. And one of the things that I would say the frustration that I see is that it seems to me that the leaders do not know their roles when they go to Parliament. I don't know if it's like, they go to Parliament for display, they go to watch the drama, they go to see what is happening and what other people are doing. I feel frustrated because the people have kind of invested in them. They've voted them. They're sending them to Parliament to go and be their voice. But then to have your leaders sit for the whole year and probably speaking once, thrice, or even never, it's kind of a slap in the face for the people like who have sent them there. So I'm just thinking that the leaders have to actually start being accountable to the people, and they have to start that by respecting the people that are sending them to Parliament, because they are there because the people decided to send them there. They did not buy themselves into those seats. They did not use their own personal means to get there, but it's because the people trusted them enough to send them to represent them in Parliament. And one of the things that they need to start doing is by being accountable. And that also involves like identifying their roles. They need to understand why they are there. Most of the time, they're actually misplacing their positions and I mean like the things that their roles and things like that. You find them coming and spending a lot of time like in the community. It's good for them to come and interact with the community, engage, consult, and get the issues and take it to Parliament. But for them, it's more about like, oh, let me go and attend this celebration and make myself look like I'm here, I'm helping them, I'm giving them handouts and things like that. It's not about the handouts. It's not about making people beggars, but it's about thinking about how they can bring development to the region, like the development that will leave everyone feeling empowered and feeling everyone, like making everyone feel like, okay, I can stand on my own. I don't have to beg from my neighbor. I don't have to beg from my political leaders, because they are getting a lot of problem themselves. You find people going to them to solve their problem. Like for instance, little things like going for money to buy food, to go to the hospital, to do things like that. But it's because they have failed to do their role. They have failed to actually advocate for the people so that this kind of problem are solved, so that resources and services are brought closer to the community. They are there to advocate on behalf of their communities and to actually make sure they compete, because it's about competition. It's about who speak more and who actually like shakes the house, and they have the power, and their power is actually the voters, because if they cannot hear them in parliament, then they have a right to say, my people will not support you because what have you done for us? You know, it's not about pleasing the president or pleasing whoever is in power. It's about pleasing your people and doing what is right by them. And a right leader should be able to sacrifice. You know, I'm just upset. I shouldn't put my emotion in this, but I just feel like the leaders have to wake up, and they should stop using parliament as a shortcut to getting rich or getting money to build themselves, and start actually thinking of how they can actually build riches that is lasting, and that is building the community and the region. So that is all that I can say. It's more like a comment than even a question.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah. I'm asking Grace Olaka. Kindly be brief. Grace Olaka. Grace, can you get me? Hello. I'm asking her to unmute, but she's not responding. And Ethelo has even gone off. I think if Grace cannot, then I need to take back the platform to Honorable so that he can now answer the questions that were given. Thank you.
Wow, this has been very sharp pointed and really to the point. One is from Isaac. Is there an improvement? What do we do to ensure that Karamoja MPs deliver? So first of all, on improvement, if you allow Simon and Comrade who's chairing this session now, you can allow me, from our experience of the 8th Parliament, we succeeded. When you saw the first year of the scorecard, the attendance was 23%, but we saw it climb to 48%, it climbed to 60% and so forth as we went the subsequent. So it means we succeeded to bring MPs back to work from being absentees. So this being now the first scorecard of the 10th Parliament. So maybe we see from the 4th year scorecard, but because they delayed us, so now they may not have opportunity to improve because now it's time to, but the fact that they saw us sent researchers to the field, they were contacted and they had a chance to improve. The fact that we had workshops last year, they knew that this thing, maybe they did not know it would be published and so forth, but the fact that we delayed. So definitely we want to see in the second scorecard, we want to see in the third scorecard, whether there's a trend, whether there's improvement. But I will share with Simon and the organizer of this forum, our evaluation of the 8th year scorecard, and then you see what it meant for these different parameters. So that's what we're aiming at. The second thing is that this is about behavioral science. Our assumption is that if MPs who are public servants know that their performance being tracked, is being monitored, and the results will be made public, do they change their behavior? Will they attend Parliament more? Will they be utilizing the opportunities that Parliament presents to them to represent their people better? Will their behavior, their actions change? If so, will their quality of contribution increase? So that's what we are trying to find here, because politicians are very sensitive that when they know that their performance is being monitored and will be made public. So we want to see behavior, and that behavior will not change overnight with one scorecard only. It may require a bit more. And even those new ones who are coming will say, my performance is going to be assessed. And that's why we are working now with UMI, Uganda Management Institute, in terms of methodology, in cross-checking these things, but also to be able to say, if there's any complaint that somebody says I've been undermarked, or for example, so there's a procedure now. The Dean of School of Civil Service, Public Administration and Governance in UMI is the one who has been given the task to quickly verify with a team of others. The MP can complain if you think you spoke more than what we have put here. If you think you raised a matter of national concern, it's verifiable. If you think you attended Parliament, it's verifiable. You can go to the register. If you think so, that's why we have limited ourselves to those data sets that are easy, that are official, we would want to measure many things, but we are limited by what is verifiable. So behavior, yes, that's what we are aiming at. And if they can wake up and if they can improve, but I will share our evaluation of the previous on the 8th Parliament, which informed the design of this one and what we are trying to aim at here. Then attendance, participate, influence. So, but like we said now, it's time. Instead of, maybe we can try to break down, we can go back the answer and say, those who raised matters of national concern from Karamoja, what was it on? We can give back to this forum so that you know what they spoke. Those who asked questions, what kind of questions did they ask? We can give back that feedback to you because it's there in the answer. If you got the regional scorecard, if you go to that MP scan, you will go to the regional scorecard. We have tried to break it into a simple. You can get the one of Karamoja. You can flip the book. You can flip the book and see for each one. Again, the regional one, we tried to see how Karamoja performed in attendance in these vis-a-vis other regions. Again, you see, we've celebrated who is the leading in that sub-region and what did he raise or she raise as a matter of national concern. We've tried to flag it there, but we can give it to you. Now, Ellis, I think you raised very good issues. Some people say they bribe to be heard in TV. Honestly, I don't know the experience. Like, for example, for me, we did not have money to broadcast this thing live. NBS asked for 15 million for 1 hour, shillings. We said we had 8 million. And now the vision group said, no, this is a very good report. Give it to us. You will pay only 4 million, a half, and we shall air live on Urban TV, on Bukede, on TV West, and on all our radios. And then we'll serialize for the benefit of citizens on our newspapers. So that's what the vision group did. You know, you don't necessarily, and then the MPs, it is wrong to say that you have to bribe to appear on TV because there's parliamentary press corps. There's a whole department of parliament with all the media houses actually second journalists who are parliamentary press association. They are there. So if you fail to speak on the floor because you were not picked by the speaker, but at least you have been given a chance to call a press conference within the principles of parliament, and then you'll be covered. Did they use that? Maybe we should go again to that department and say, which MPs did you organize press conferences for? And maybe bring that data because it's official, they are being paid. That Department of Communications is being paid. It was, who was this gentleman who was from Bukedia, who was thrown out recently? Chris Obore. You know, and there are people, it's a whole department. Maybe we should start to audit and say, which press conference did you organize for which MP requested? Then we see those who did not speak in the plenary, who did not speak in the committee, whether they made use of the press services that are in parliament. I think you've given us a good idea, but don't buy that idea that they have to be bribed. For example, for me, did I have to bribe, for example, to appear on this Zoom or Jama? So I thank Kate here for this. Now, the other one is how to reach, how to take this report to the grassroots. My brother, my sister, I'm telling you what has happened now. People cannot believe. If you listen to the radios, that's why it is good to discuss with you now. I'm sure you have access already the report card of every MP. How did we do it? Yes, the new vision is serializing, but we have also digitalized it that you can download from anywhere. So yesterday, people in Lango were saying, Everybody's calling to the radio station is having the report in front of them. Like in Moyo yesterday morning, an MP was struggling to explain. I went to this committee, I attended this committee, then the voter is saying, no, I have the report here. On this 1, on this 0, on this. Now you're just talking by word of mouth. Where is the evidence that you went there? So it is a great thing if you people, you civil society in Karamoja now, can produce this and photocopy, and this scorecard reaches the ordinary people, so that when these MPs come, you take them to task. It is your word against official record. If they say I am wrong, then say, why are you not taking them to court? Why are they not complaining? Because you raise a complaint, the whole dean, like in a university, if your marks go missing or if you have been undermarked, you raise a complaint. There's an examination board, they put a whole faculty people to investigate, and then they dig out. And if there's a lecturer who undermarked you, they penalize that lecturer. So don't allow them to get away with it. Tell them, complain. Have you lodged the complaint? Okay. Have you lodged the complaint? Take this please away. So have you lodged the complaint? There's a whole elaborate procedure. It will not be protocol to handle. It will not be the people who handle data. It will not be, it is a different entity now. Our whole dean of School of Civil Service, these are public servants. And you know, UMI trains not undergraduates. It trains people who are mature, who are in these offices. Institute of Public Administration. That's where the matter is. So UMI are data governors, the ones who are managing this data. And they're using this data, they're designing courses for masters, for PhD. They're also designing now short courses for those when they're elected to go through for you to be an effective MP, using this data of the scorecard. So please, how to reach, please help us and take it on. I found MP candidates who are photocopy. Well, yesterday I found one who was buying 500 copies of the New Vision. The New Vision is serializing the whole of this week because a report of 780 pages, that's what we have. So we've just tried to simplify by giving you this digitalized to help us to take. Now, Chero, lobbying. Now, let me leave on that one. I think you take on the MP. Mercy, I think there's more of a comment. I appreciate. So I think let me stop here to allow others to ask questions. I agree with what Akongo said, that I think we need a change of mindset, not only for leaders, but even voters. Because the voters may not be caring much. They may not be linking why talking in parliament is important to the problem they have. If your MP does not raise, it doesn't get addressed. You remain in this problem because your MP is not raised. And the government goes on thinking you don't have a problem. If there was insecurity, there was a raid, you lost your cows, and your MP did not raise, it will not be addressed because your MP did not raise. Did you have a spokesman? Yes. Did he speak? No. Was it recorded? No. Was any committee, was any minister given to handle? No. So what do you do?
I am hoping, or rather planning, that in maybe half an hour we fold the debate so that we can have another short one in future. And if you have any feedback for members who are attending this, if this is a good way for KDF to reach out on specific issues related to land rights, the current conflict, for example, you know, this is one area that we can invest in. Please do give us feedback on whether this makes sense for Karamoja to, you know, have a discussion at some level. This is not where all the discussion will be had, but, you know, for people who can engage like we do, we can create more such opportunities. So please, your feedback will be very important for us. You can just write us an email at karamojadf@gmail.com. But I have two other questions before other persons, you know, submit, just in case there are others who want to submit. David Pulkol, given your knowledge of Karamoja and experience, the scorecard, this scorecard, and those coming, and 2021, what is your wish?
Unfortunately, I no longer live on the ground to be able to do that's why I like working with you who are real on the ground, and that we can work together. So for me, I've just decided to concentrate on the decision-making center here and cause them to work for the people, and then see how the people can actually hold them, become bosses. Because when you see them with big cars and you see them with the tummies and so forth, you think they are really big people, they do their work. But now when you double click and open those folders, you find 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. So you think, this one? Okay, so what is my wish? You know, education is new in Karamoja. And I like the way that the most educated now in Karamoja are young people. And I'm also so happy that the Karamojong have taken so much to education. And education in Karamoja seems to have been democratized somehow. It is no longer, in the past, education was following particular families. If you are Lokolmo's family, if you are Mudong's family, if you are Nalibe's family, if you have to be a child of a school headmaster, a child of a chief, a child of what, you know, for you to make it. But now, children of ordinary people are making it to university. That's excellent. What a good thing that now those of you at your generation now, what is your mission, you young people? Because every generation gets its own mission and therefore pursues it. So what will be yours? For me, I think I came up too early for my generation, you know, into leadership. At 26, I became a minister. At 27, at 26, I had my master's. I came too early and lonely, you know, but I was taken to this captured space, which was like, like you are being co-opted to turn the wheel on the same direction it has been turning all this time. So what prevented some of us to make impact? You know, when I look back with hindsight, for now you have numbers. My wish is that you people rise up and take the mantle. How can we organize, even if it means contributing little money here and there, to make those of you who have Karamoja at heart, those of you who feel so strongly on this vision of being a servant of the people, what can we do to support you to succeed? My wish is to see, that's why I'm not contesting. I think my time is up. I should concentrate on mentoring and supporting those of you who are coming up. But then the problem is, I have found that I have mentored people, but even when they make it, they just become for themselves only. I was foolish. I thought that by being Karamojong, by being young, okay, now when they take over this position, they've changed. So maybe we need again to say, who have got this vision, who can, you know, I think the like-minded. It's no longer just, because I've found that there are those who have been co-opted or sponsored from the center, not to serve their people, but to serve other people's interests. So you find we've been edged out, and instead the ones they have brought, meaning corruption, the corrupt elements are busy reproducing corrupt people. Although they are tribal, although they come from different tribes, but they come to the center, and then corruption has got a bright future in Uganda. Because if you're corruption, you just smile, because there's nothing to hold you accountable. And in as long as you bring people from different parts who don't care about their people, but care about pleasing the citizens. So that's the problem. My wish is that those who believe in being servants, being accountable, being responsive, that's my wish, to have those type of leaders, not those who want to become bosses, not those who want to enrich themselves, not those who are at the expense of ordinary citizens. You can become rich, yes, but please serve the people.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do we have any further questions? I think Grace Olaka earlier on had an interest to speak. Daniel, if you may, can we get Grace to make our point or question?
Actually, thank you again. She wrote in our question here in the chat room. Maybe I can just read.
Yeah.
Oh, let me get it. It's here. It's saying, "I'm sorry, I was in a noisy place, but I am following the discussion using the headset. My question is 1 year's performance adequate to? Is it to reduce influence on overall performance of an honorable member of parliament, it would be very interesting to see a trend analysis of performance of MPs who have been in office for more than one term. I think she was more interested in seeing a trend of this performance for more than like one term. I don't know if Honorable has got a data of this performance like in the past where other members can get this information from, or this is the only data we have as per now. She's even here, so maybe she can try
Can
to
I add
elaborate.
on that?
Okay, yes.
Yeah, this is Grace Olaka.
Yes. Your network is
Some
not
people think the 1 year's scorecard is not. I'm saying, can you hear me?
Yes, we hear
Yes.
you.
So some people, yes, some people seem to think that 1 year's scorecard is not enough to make a conclusion or inference on the performance of an MP. So my question is, would it be possible to have digital site where you can just go and check your MP's performance, or you can, sort of raise issues and they will be able to know from there. So I'm wondering, would it be possible, for example, to a click and you're able to pull up the performance of your MP, for example, if they've been in power for more than one term?
Okay.
Yes. Can I respond?
Honorable, I'm seeing another hand here from Nokia 5. I believe let's just give only this person, then we close for the day. Simon, what do you think? I'm seeing you smile. Okay. Nokia 5, I don't know your name. You'll introduce yourself, then have a word. Kindly unmute your mic. Okay.
Come again. Hello, are you getting me?
Yes,
Yes,
we are getting.
Nokia 5.
Aloysius Aloka.
Pardon?
Aloysius
I'm
Aloka.
Aloysius Aloka.
Oh.
Okay, okay.
I'm very grateful for this system to discuss as Simon was.
Volume.
And I wish we could continue with this type. I hope system so that we contribute more to Karamoja. And for Honorable David, I'm very grateful. I attended the all presentation you made on NBS. And for the all of today, I've been
I think the network of Aloysius is not fine.
a result of come again.
Your network is disturbing.
Oh, sorry.
Try your best. You're coming in bits, but we are picking somehow. When it's broken.
Yes, maybe I'm in the wrong bad network place up here in the Quen. So I was saying I was listening to radios today.
Yes, Trinity Radio.
The results of the scorecard. But to my assessment, it's a wake up for MPs to know that they are not doing their proper work. Instead, they are attaching themselves what we in local governments do and attach it to NRM manifesto. And yet, it is what we plan in local governments. I think if we continue with this scorecard, the MPs will be doing the right thing. I thank you.
Okay, welcome, Aloysius. I think by that we have come to the end of questions and answers. I take the mantle back to Honorable Pulukol. Maybe if given opportunity, then I'll just say a word before I go, but let Honorable first answer the questions. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Aloysius, because Like I said, we are monitoring the whole country now. We're using Ipsos, which monitor all radios, all TVs, all social media. So we hope we'll get a report of what's happening in the whole country. But today when I was trying to cross-check, and I was found it was a hot debate in KTN, Captura Trinity Radio Network or something. And the MP for Queen was really under pressure. I'm happy you were listening. But yes, I think we should just continue. One scorecard is not enough. I think if you allow, Simon, I will send you the clip, the video clip of the launch, what the donor said. He seems to agree with what Grace is saying, that one scorecard is not enough. But I've also told you that there are 2 more scorecards to come before the 10th Parliament finishes. Unfortunately, because of the protracted discussions with Parliament, this particular one delayed. And we thought we'd do it with an MOU. But when we found that they were not willing to be assessed, and they wanted us to remove individual scorecard and only assess the institution. So we said, no, that's where we disagreed. We went ahead. And so long as it's factual, that's why we can stand for. And therefore, you have to excuse us. We were limited in terms of what data sets, what can you vouch, what's bankable, you can take to the bank, you cannot be contradicted, and it is reliable and you can be believed. So what is official? So we were limited to those few. And even then, when the speaker does not give us the list of excused absence, when MP goes to Africa Parliament, when they go to IPU, like for example, our dear sister Esther, who is a member of Interparliamentary Union of the whole world. You know, what a great opportunity for Karamoja to be represented at the Interparliamentary Union. When all parliaments of the world sit, does Karamoja have a voice? Yes. Who's your voice? Esther Anyakun. So, you know, when she's out, we wanted those letters when MPs have been given a permission so that we mark them present. Unfortunately, the Speaker's office did not give us. And because we have no evidence, it became difficult for us to include. If you see our marks on attendance very low, it's not that she did not work, but because evidence was not given to us. And I hope MPs will put pressure on the Speaker's office to volunteer and bring those information. Because if the information in the glass box cupboard of the Speaker, where can I get it from? Unless I am given. But if it was available in the library or in the website, I can use it. So like those who go to Africa Parliament and so forth. So what have I promised to give you? Our internal assessment of the 8th year scorecard, the trends and the patterns, which we think we expect here. But when I look at the trends here, I think there's big improvement. The whole Parliament here scored 60% in these, and then on representation, 50%, 50.8%. On legislation, 73%. On appropriation, 53.4%. On oversight, I'll give you the institutional performance and also but let's look at the 4th year. Since they knew that AFLI was conducting this, did they improve? And then the 5th year, like now, which they are on, we will only produce for 6 months up to December. And then January, time bad, we'll release. So that when citizens go to elections, we will produce in the last one, the 3 scorecards. On 1st year, meaning 3rd year, on the 4th year, on 5th year. Then you can be able to judge. I agree with you, Grace. But even then, those 3 may not be enough because they have not had time for this one when it was released to impact, for them to improve. Maybe it will be in the 11th Parliament that will be able to get a better performance, because then they will have learned there will be many trends, whether the students improved or they did not improve. So I think that's what I can say. I have just promised the one for the 8th Parliament, the trends. I have promised what the donor, what UMI Director General is saying about this project. And then I agree with Aloysius. I think this is the best way to go. Imagine we are doing it throughout the whole Uganda. And now when you release, the way the pressure on me, people think pull call, instead of an African Leadership Institute, instead of Uganda Management Institute, they see those who have not performed well are really crucifying, like if they meet me, they will want to chew you or something. But so long as it's factual, sorry, me, I stand for what is facts. It is your record against you. It is a register. Where can I get a register of parliament? None of you, not even me, but the parliament, none of us records parliament. It is their own record, which is the one we are using. Okay, any complaint, it's there. So we're giving it back to them. So I thank you all, but please, how will you help now as this forum? There are radios in Karamoja. Are you going to guide and take this thing to the grassroots? Are you going to organize those radio talk shows? Are you going to bring Karamoja MPs through your different forums to respond? How do you reach these to the population? How do you explain? Because at first you did not know the parameters. The parameters, unfortunately, we want to discuss with them, and then some of them are running away. The only way to bring them back is to do this thing kindly by force. If there's a word called kindly by force, that's what we are doing now, just kindly by force. So you force this thing on them, because after 3, 4 days, 5 days, it will no longer be Pulkol, it will no longer be Afli. It is now them and citizens. Honorable, you were not in parliament. You are also not here. Where have you been? Honorable, you could not even raise the issue about our schools, about our roads, about our what? Honorable, do you fear ministers? Let it now be citizens to ask them, and then they will respond. So I thank you, and let's continue. I hope KDF will be able to produce a report of this. I think it will be useful for us as well. And then I thought we could also we have done some research. Maybe we need to look at indicators in each county now, okay, and each district, and then relate this performance to the issues on the ground. I think I have learned something, and maybe when we're doing this for other regions, we may have to do the same. You people have led the way, and I'm so happy about this. So I hope you'll produce a report. My team has been taking notes. They've been typing every question, every response. So we'll also we can exchange from these notes and see whether we understood each other. And then you can consolidate into one good report. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Unmute, sir.
Yeah,
thank you.
Yes, so just some closing remarks. Again, thank you very much for attending. I think at the peak, we reached around 23, 25. So very good start for us with Zoom. And we'll be organizing a few more of such conferences on key issues. But I think before we really close, Daniel, our assistant, well, the technical guy had a question or comment. Yeah, so.
Okay, Simon.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, and thank you, Honorable. I think just like Hakong had said, I am one of the persons who admire the way Honorable David Pulkol works. I remember at one point around 2015, when I was at campus, we had a gathering at his own place in Nigeria, and it was just like still to encourage the youth to stand up for their rights, of which out of it, I'm seeing some remarkable changes in our own ways of life. And I believe if we are to like embrace all this, by the end of time, we shall have a better Karamoja than what we have right now. I was so much honored to be part of this meeting, and I was so much honored to be given the rights to control or to play during the meeting. I want to attest to the whole of Karamoja right now that when the issue of virtual campaign came in, we did not like sit down and relax. Just like I told you, I am an accountant and I work with humanitarian aids west in the West Nile, far away from home. But now I was thinking of how we could be reaching our community and seeing how to close the gap, however much you're far away. We had to do this Zoom meeting. This is not my first time of doing it. We have a platform in a beam called Duane Tour, and it brings all the people together. We bring all the contestants, all the people in their various capacities in office, and we ask them some of these questions. We hold them accountable. And of course, we are yet planning for more meetings to come. And I believe it will be a better platform for us to also hear out the issue that has been discussed on this platform. And just like Honorable Pulukolat said, I think we need to go back to our past glory as Karamoja. We should avoid the issue of decentralization that has broken us into pieces. Imagine now, initially we used to fight as one, but right now we are fighting our own self. Remember the issue of security. If you're to see what happened in the floor of parliament, of course I saw a number of our MPs talk, but they were fighting themselves, of which we would have united back from home and solve this issue without taking it into the floor of parliament. This is just because we do not understand the magnitude of some kind of things that we do. Therefore, we are having the next Zoom meeting as people of Labrador County, of which our Honorable Member of Parliament, Yepa, also happened to be one of the people down in the scorecard. I believe it will be an opportunity for him also to tell us why and how and his whereabouts during these sessions. It was so alarming to see in the scorecard how many times he attended, how many issues he raised, yet even in the constituency, he wasn't there. These are kind of things that we really need to sort them out. But for us, we are going a little far. Not only in the Zoom meeting, we want to conduct a Zoom meeting and at the same time, broadcast it over the radio, such that the people who cannot access internet can listen from the radio. The people can communicate through the radio, of which the moderator would have been connected from the radio station to the Zoom meeting, and all the communication can be matched together. Imagine right now we have, just like Simon had said, we had 25, not 23 participants, the whole of Karamoja. Imagine we are connected to all these radio stations in Karamoja. By now, we would be having over 10,000 listeners, and we would be getting a wide coverage and a wide feedback. But of course, we are limited with resources. But as sons and daughters of this land of Karamoja, we need to pull up. Where it needs for us to get some resources, let's pull up and let's get the resources to connect to these radio stations, and we connect to the grassroots. Before they can get the printout of these reports, they can hear to the deliberation on the Zoom via the radio. I am so grateful, and I want us to take this as our own right as citizens of Uganda, and most of all Karamoja. We have been abused time and again. We have been marginalized time and again. Let's try this time round to get the best of it all. Finally, the issue of Minister for Karamoja. Honorable David Pulukol, you spoke of it, and it is something very so-hearting. Way back still in 2015, I remember we had a meeting as Karamoja students. The students of Castor, we went for a meeting. It was at the Senate of Makerere. Unfortunately, we were told the Minister of Karamoja by then, who is right now the Minister for Education, was to come and address the students from Karamoja on matters affecting Karamoja. Unfortunately, the lady did not turn up. She only sent a representative who only promised some money, and the issue of money disorganized the whole of the students. Nothing was discussed. The only issue the only session that was given to the students was to write a note of the question. How do you expect me to write a note of the question when I do not listen to the feedback from it? I want us to fight this time round. If Karamoja is disdained to have a minister, let the minister be in Karamoja, and let the minister be a Karamojong, where we can approach, where we can reach. Not this one with the office in Kabale. How many Karamojongs have traveled to Kabale to go and raise the issues affecting them in Karamoja? I am even failing to tell it out. Otherwise, let's fight together and we shall attain what we want. Thank you so much. I am so grateful. In case of anything, my mail is with Emma. You'll share with me. And in case I tap on you, like Honorable David Pulukol or any other person for a meeting, please kindly accord us your presence and we share it all. I'm so grateful. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Daniel. Thank you so much, David. Thank you, everyone, for participating in this conference call. It's a trial for us. We work to integrate lessons. Taba didn't confirm, but we had expected that in 2 or 3 radio stations, this conference was live. But we will confirm and get you to know somehow. If it wasn't, we'll make consideration for the same in future meetings. Thank you so much. Daniel, kindly help me close the meeting room. since I don't have the tools, unless Taba is on. Taba.
Yes, Simon, I'm still on. Just for the participants, we failed to make arrangements with the radio stations. We hope to do that in the next conversations that we have. Thank you, Pulkol. Thank you, everybody. The conversation can continue in other platforms. Bye-bye.
Yep. Bye-bye.